Welcome back to Speak for Yourself from the Crib, presented by Hyundai. Jason Whitlock, Marcellus Wiley. All right, time now to go out and visit another crib, Bucky Brooks, somewhere out here in the Los Angeles area. Bucky, welcome to Speak for Yourself from the Crib. Looking good. All right, I got a crazy topic that I'm sure Marcellus is going to hate on, but I love it, and I wanted you to come on and argue with me as well. Cam Newton been putting out all these social media videos, shirtless, working out, the whole 9 yards, and it just got me to thinking and realizing Cam is built like a Greek god. He looks like a tight end, an outside linebacker, one of the best built guys in all the professional sports. And it's actually the physique, like a linebacker, like a tight end, that is actually limiting Cam as a quarterback for a couple of reasons. One, I don't think we've ever seen a quarterback built like this. But two, if any quarterback does look like this, their mentality won't be about all the extra intangible things a quarterback can do. When you have that body, you want to run the football, you want to be highly aggressive. Your mentality is that of a linebacker or someone else rather than a quarterback. If Cam had a physique more like Tom Brady, Cam Newton would be a better quarterback. All right, Marcellus, get us rolling here. Am I crazy for thinking Cam's physique is holding him back as a quarterback?
Boy, I love working with you, boy. It's never shocking, some of the things that come out of your mouth. Look, I will say this, Whit. You cleaned that up as best as you could. You stated it well, but it's still a mess in what you said. So basically, I just surmised that we live in a world where an athlete can look too athletic. Like, oh my God, LeBron, 6'8", 260, too much. Like, tone it down a little bit. Why you have to look like that? And I don't like this correlation of his physique to the lack of intangibles he may possess because he has that physique. They don't rob each other. I know there's a curse of the gifted, but Cam is a MVP. He's not cursed because of his body. He's blessed because of his body. What I think really happened to Cam, what really screwed him up, was the fact that he went out there, bought into the team concept, and played hurt. As simple as that, playing hurt is what now has Cam Newton in a position where he's jobless. I did the same thing. I played hurt. You can either go out there and play hurt and try and show valor and get all this respect for doing it for the team and something bigger than yourself. Or you can go play hurt, and then your numbers will suffer, your performance will suffer, and then you will suffer because you will lose opportunities. And usually in that equation, the latter comes true. Cam Newton, in his last 8 games, was injured through all of them. You talk about a guy who had 2 shoulder surgeries and then had a Liz Frank injury, and this guy tried to play through all of that. You erase those 2 years, you erase him trying to show that courage through those moments and just have Cam Newton redshirt and then all of a sudden magically appear healthy. You know what happens? Completely different perception and complexion of Cam Newton. He did what many good players, great players have done. Went out on the sword because he tried to play hurt. It cost him.
Yeah, Marcellus, I agree with you on that. And I think you make a really good point about Cam Newton playing hurt. You know, Cam's biggest problem was he wasn't selfish enough. If he was selfish and didn't give of himself for the team, we wouldn't be talking about him like this. But to Jason's point about his physique and how in shape Cam is, I actually think that is a positive. Because when you think about Cam Newton's game, you don't think about Cam Newton the passer. You think about Cam Newton as the rugged force of nature that dominated the position as a running quarterback. I think for Cam only has one way to play. And I think, to me, by looking at him, he is fully gearing up to be fully armored up to play like Cam Newton has always played. And that version of Cam Newton was an unstoppable force. And if he gets to the right place, and I'll tell you the right place a little later, but if he gets to the right place, and if Bill Belichick happens to be his coach, I think all of us will be eating our words about what Cam Newton is and what he could be in the National Football League.
Cam Newton's not a fit for Bill Belichick. And listen, this sounds like I'm being hypercritical of Cam. His physique, it's awesome. It's something to be admired, and every athlete wishes they looked that way. But I don't think it's a coincidence that Tom Brady, even a Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers, all of these guys, there are so many intangibles and fundamentals to football that when you are blessed with that body and the mentality that goes along with that body, you can't have that body unless you're thinking about it all the time, how to maintenance it, how to keep it at that level. Whereas other quarterbacks that don't have those gifts, Russell Wilson, he's short, Tom Brady, they focus in on a bunch of other fundamentals and footwork and things like that and technique that Cam, I'm just sorry, just hasn't had to focus in on. The ball comes out late for Cam. Cam's footwork oftentimes, you keep hearing about, we're going to change his throwing motion for X, Y, and Z. We're going to change the footwork for X, Y, and Z. It's hard for those things to be your focus when you have Cam Newton's body, when you got the body of Rob Gronkowski. I'm just sorry. And again, that's why I compare him a bit to Gronkowski, because when you have that body, you have the personality that goes along with that body, and it's more Gronk-like than Brady or Russell Wilson-like or Aaron Rodgers-like or Patrick Mahomes-like or even Lamar Jackson, who's relatively thin for the style of quarterback that he plays. I think Cam's physique has caused him not to be as focused on the fundamentals as other quarterbacks, and it's kind of held him back.
Well, let's get to the fundamental of the sport before we even get to the fundamental of the position. It is a talent-based criteria. It's a talent-based occupation, no matter how it looks. There's this calculation of mental, physical, intangibles, tangibles. There's that calculus going on. Now, Cam Newton is in the NFL. Everyone in the NFL is a dog. Everyone. But Cam Newton is a wolf. And if you look at him, they may look similar, but boy, trust me, they ain't the same. Look at this. When you're talking about the population of people who have ever walked this planet, let alone played in the NFL that look like Cam Newton, you get this sample size. Then you talk about all the others, Tom Brady, Drew Brees, Patrick Mahomes, whoever you want to talk about, you get this sample size. And you know what you can do with that sample size? You can leverage it and say, you know what? This is where the intangibles lie. This is where the good quarterbacks are. Because it's just more general population, regular-looking dudes. Not that many wolves on that side. So Cam Newton is fighting really against himself and the fact that there's very few others who can even compare to him in terms of measurables. So really an unfair comparison to Cam Newton because he has worked on his game. You do not become MVP of the NFL if you don't have your fundamentals and you don't have intangibles. It's impossible to do.
Look, I think Cam Newton is kind of struck with the same curse that LeBron James was struck with in terms of sometimes when you're so gifted and you're so physically dominant that you've been able to skip steps along the way. And for Cam, wherever Cam has been, he's always been the best player on the field. And sometimes that allows you to move forward and advance steps without mastering the fundamentals. What typically happens as you get older and your skills begin to decline, your athleticism, you then need to lean on your fundamentals. The key for Cam Newton going forward is, can he put enough time in to develop and refine the fundamentals so when his athleticism begins to wane, his mind, his experience, his wisdom enables him to play at a high level. But make no mistake, a lot of times when we are praising Tom Brady for being able to be a guy that can play into his 40s, it's the TB12 method. It's how he's taking care of his body. Unfortunately, Tom Brady doesn't have the gene pool to pull from that enables him to look physically like Cam. Because if he could, I'm sure he would. He's just not gifted like that. And because of that, he leans on his other attributes that enable him to win and play at a high level.
If Tom Brady looked like Cam Newton, he'd play tight end or outside linebacker and he'd be in the Hall of Fame. If Cam Newton played tight end or linebacker or something like that, Cam Newton would be in the Hall of Fame. But we got to go. He's not a good fit for New England.
He's a great
Cam needs to put out Instagram videos of him in the film room. That's what I want to see, Cam in the film room. All right, we got to go. Rick Bucher's going to join us. We're going to talk about LeBron James as a leader. Jared Dudley calling LeBron the best leader in all of basketball, perhaps in all of professional sports. Speak for Yourself, presented by Hyundai.